Hi, it's Jake Irvin for IMTS TV. We're here in the Advanced Manufacturing Center for today's Shop Talk feature. Today, we're here with Chris Koepfer, the Editor-in-Chief for Production Machining Magazine. Chris, how are you doing today?
Doing good, Jake.
Great.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. It's our pleasure.
Good to see you.
Now, can you give us a brief overview of what Production Machining Magazine is all about?
Certainly. Production Machining Magazine was started in 2001 to serve a need we felt within the industry of precision turn parts, historically called the screw machine industry, which is kind of falling out of favor but is understood by most people. Screw machining has been around for over a century, and it's the process in the industry that made nuts, bolts, nails, all the little fastener kinds of things that people take for granted and are made in the bajillions of numbers. And part of the watch industry as well was part of this. But we started the magazine because we felt that industry was underserved in the United States, and we wanted to talk specifically to it, which is what we've been doing for 12 years.
Wow, that's a long time. And in your 12 years of producing Production Machining Magazine, editing Production Machining Magazine, what are some of the trends you've seen in the industry? What is the health of the industry today?
Well, one of the reasons we started the magazine was in my travels to Europe, Asia, I had seen that industry changing over from what historically was a mechanical world, driven by cams, for example, and automatic machines, to one that's being powered by CNC, computer numerical control. It's a whole different world for them. And that was happening because of several things. One, the reduction in the volumes of work that was being produced, the numbers of parts, and the need for flexibility within the machine tool. Mechanical machines are very, very dedicated. CNC gives you flexibility to do higher mix, lower volume work, which is the trend that we've seen. So CNC has gone in the multi-spindle world, in the single spindle world via Swiss type machines, in rotary transfer. All the high volume production concepts are being driven by CNC now.
Wow, that's quite the change.
It is a large change, and it's ongoing.
Now, you talked about multi-spindle. I've heard some rumors from the show floor here that there's actually an 11-axis or an 11-spindle machine. Can you clarify my thought here?
Well, it's not 11 spindles, it's 6 spindles, but each of those spindles has 2 axes of motion or more available to it. So if you multiply that by 6, you're 12 or 18 axes.
Wow, that's a lot of axes. I can't even mentally think of how that would look, mentally picture that. It's beyond me.
Well, it's way more than X, Y, and Z as we learned in school. Let's put it that way. But what it does, though, is it enables us to do increasingly complex work pieces that are being demanded by designers, by medical, by aerospace, by engineers who think these things up and leave it to us to try to make them. And maybe there's some conflict there, maybe not, but it's opportunity as well. And I think that's part of what we're seeing in this industry with the reshoring initiative that's going on. We're seeing a lot of work that went away from the U.S. domestic producers coming back for a variety of reasons. Those are contractual, transportational, as far as time required to get work back, quality issues from overseas, and it's all spelling very, very good news for the domestic manufacturers in the United States. Moreover, I will add this, the increase in transplants. Let's take automotive, which of course is America's biggest manufacturing industry, or close to the biggest. We're seeing a lot of companies from Italy, Germany, Korea, Japan, setting up shop in the United States. Now, a lot of times when they first came in, they would stick with their buddies. And what we're seeing now is that as time has gone by, they're looking to domestic suppliers for their discrete parts and assemblies instead of going to Germany or setting up shop here. So many of our companies are seeing an increase in business from these companies that were unpenetrable before.
And it sounds like all these domestic linkages are really providing the basis for the resurgence in manufacturing in America. Is that right?
It's part of it, of course. Yes, it's part of it. But the biggest part of it, I would say, is been the willingness and the ability of the American manufacturing industry to look at new technology. We've gotten to a point where the ability to hire unskilled labor, there are no jobs for those people. The skill level has increased because of the sophistication of manufacturing. Go back to the 18 axes we were talking about. I mean, how do you get your head around that? And you just don't walk, somebody doesn't walk off the street with a knowledge of what 18 axes are. I mean, you're a smart guy and you can't even imagine it. So the point is that what we're doing is we're taking and replacing basically unskilled labor with automation. And that's been driving the IMTS show. It's driving the industries represented at the IMTS show, the builders of machine tools and accessories and cutting tools, software, all the things that go into manufacturing is being focused tightly on the ability to automate. In other words, let the machine do the work, try to reduce the labor cost if you can. The benefit of that ongoing is that we're creating better jobs for people in the future. In other words, manufacturing is about value add. I mean, you can go back to Adam Smith and look at Wealth of Nations. You know, wealth is created by adding value to something that is less valuable.
Making stuff.
Making stuff. And that's all good. But, you know, for the worker, it's a matter of how much can that worker add the value to the product in the process.
Sure.
And if I can get a worker who has the skills to do something that's way more value added than, let's say, loading a part or unloading a part, which can be done by automation, then we're all better off. The worker's better off, the employer's better off.
So it sounds like the trend is really towards more mechanization, more automation, and that's pretty different for this country. You know, at the beginning of the 20th century, there was a lot of people involved in domestic agriculture, and that number has dwindled pretty significantly.
Correct.
Is that same trend happening in manufacturing?
I think it is, and I think we can look forward to it increasingly ongoing. Yes, agriculture is a very good analogy for the trends we see in manufacturing, where we're producing more with fewer people. And
productivity increases.
Productivity increases, and you see those numbers from the government every month. America, and that's one of the reasons I think too that we've seen a lot of this reshoring initiative coming back to the United States, because we have been just ongoing for the last decade or two, increasing productivity on a regular basis through systemic ways, in other words, through things like lean manufacturing, but also through the investment in technology that enables us to do that. And so it's all good stuff.
It's all good stuff, absolutely.
Good stuff.
Everything at IMTS I've seen is all good.
It's awesome. This show's great.
Amazing.
Attitudes are great. People are happy, excited. Everything I hear from my friends overseas that I've visited, America is the place to be right now, as far as manufacturing is concerned.
Is there anything we should look forward to from Production Machining Magazine in the future?
Yeah, I think I can speak to the fact that one of the things we've been seeing, and I spoke a little bit earlier about the migration from mechanical to CNC-driven machines. What that does for my audience, for my readers, is, again, historically their shop had a department that made cams, and cams were the things that actuated those 18 axes we talked about, made them move, made them go in and out, up and down, around. And it was a mechanical device. Now that's been replaced with an electromechanical device, servo motors, and giving that shop the ability to program that motion electronically. With a cam, it was either it went 2 inches or it didn't. With a programmable machine tool, I can program it to go 2 inches or 4 inches or 3 inches or whatever's within its stroke range. With a cam machine, you had to have a different cam to do each thing. My point being is a lot of our shops now have replaced their cam department with a programming department. When you're able to program using G-code, which is primarily the way to run a CNC, now you can run a machining center, you can run a grinder, you can run an EDM machine. You're not just stuck with screw machines. So now you can expand your horizons, enabling you to do more for your customer in different ways, provide a better value add, and that's the bottom line.
Now, how often does Production Machining Magazine get published?
every month.
Every month. So every month we can look in the magazine for articles on CAD CAM, what you just talked about with moving away from single cam and double cam to being able to program G-code to do whatever you want. So every month there's featured articles in Production Machining Magazine about what we're talking about?
We do basically two kinds of articles. We do technical articles and we do application articles. Technical articles are talking about things that I may see here, for example. I may see a piece of technology that may have an interest to my readers, okay? And remember, I'm a vertical magazine, so I don't cover the universe. But the part I do cover, and part of my experience why they keep me, is I'm able to recognize what's relevant to my readers. So I will write a piece about technology, for example. But then I will also do what I call application stories, where I will go out to a shop and I will see how they're applying that technology in their business and write about how that has helped them. What were they doing before they acquired this technology? Quantify the data. What's it provided? Has it reduced their cost, reduced their labor, increased their throughput, made better quality? And that's what we talk about. So basically it's two kinds of articles that I'm looking for.
So it sounds like case stories of proof of concepts and innovative ways to conduct your business.
And best practices. I think it's part of it too. We like to look at best practices and try to explain to our readers, this shop's doing something very smart. You should maybe read this.
Absolutely, and that's, how else would you know unless you're reading about it? We all conduct our businesses in isolation, so having a magazine that's covering these topics is really important.
Well, in a previous interview I said this, I feel that my job and my staff's job is to act as a proxy for our readers. We get on the plane, we make the trips, we go see the stuff, and we come back and tell them about it or write about it for them. And I think that's a good service.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
They keep subscribing, so it's a good sign.
There you go, it's working.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. Well, thanks a lot for taking the time to speak with us today. We sure
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate it, Jake.
Absolutely.
My pleasure.
For IMTS TV, this is Jake Irvin from the Advanced Manufacturing Center. Make sure to tune in every day for our Shop Talk feature that we're doing in conjunction with Gardner Business Media. We'll see you next time.